caranya ya Kak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm SUNANDES. Allow me to guide you through this webinar. First of all, this is an international webinar with theme Welcoming Gen Z to the World of Careers on Human Resource Management Perspective. This event is a collaboration between Balitar Islamic University, Indonesia, and Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, Malaysia. This event also initiated by International Affairs Office, Balitar Islamic University, and Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, Malaysia. Let me introduce you our speakers today. Mr. Bambang Septiawan, Magister of Management, Head of Management Study Program, Faculty of Economic, Balitar Islamic University. And the second is Associate Professor Dr. Hazimah Nikmat, Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, speech from the Dean of Faculty of Economic. To Mr. Supriyanto, Magister of Management, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala anbiyahi wa mursalin amma ba'du. Hadirin yang berbahagia, segala puji kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala yang telah melimpahkan rahmat, taufik dan hidayahnya. Oleh karena itu pada hari ini kita dapat mengikuti dan menyelenggarakan seminar internasional yang bertemakan Welcome Gen Z to the World of Careers. Izinkan saya mengucapkan terima kasih dan memberikan kehormatan kepada pertama Rektor Universitas Islam Balitar atau yang mewakili Rektor Universitas Malaysia Terengganu atau yang mewakili Dekan Fakultas Bisnis, Ekonomi, dan Pembangunan Sosial Universitas Terengganu atau yang mewakili, serta seluruh panitia dan hadirin yang saya hormati, yang mendukung terselenggaranya seminar ini. Semoga acara ini dapat berjalan dengan sebaik-baiknya hingga selesai. Hadirin yang berbahagia, komposisi penduduk Indonesia berdasarkan hasil survei dari BPS tahun 2020 menunjukkan adanya penurunan yang signifikan pada jumlah generasi baby boomers dan generasi X. Dengan kata lain, angkatan kerja saat ini didominasi oleh generasi milenial dan generasi Z. Generasi Z telah mengenal teknologi dalam berbagai bentuk sejak usia sangat dini. Mereka merasa nyaman mengkonsumsi informasi di berbagai perangkat seperti ponsel, tablet, laptop, dan sebagainya, sehingga membuat mereka peka terhadap informasi dari semua kelompok umur. Selain melek teknologi, generasi Z adalah pencipta, inovator, wirausaha dengan opini kuat dan keinginan untuk didengarkan. Meskipun etos kerja kuat seperti generasi milenial, mereka mengharapkan perusahaan mampu memenuhi kebutuhan mereka akan budaya dan lingkungan kerja yang sesuai dengan nilai-nilai pribadi mereka. Dalam studi terbaru yang dilakukan oleh Forbes, 77% peserta generasi Z mengatakan bahwa komitmen perusahaan terhadap keberagaman akan menjadi faktor penentu keputusan mereka untuk melamar suatu pekerjaan di suatu perusahaan. Studi lain yang dilakukan Dynamic Signal ini menyimpulkan bahwa mereka lebih peduli pada keseimbangan kehidupan kerja dan kesejahteraan pribadi. Bagaimana sebuah perusahaan melakukan employer branding juga sangat penting bagi generasi Z. Dengan 70% calon talent pasti melihat review online di situs seperti Glassdoor sebelum melamar pekerjaan tertentu, dan menurut Forbes, berdasarkan review yang didapat, 69% diantaranya adalah lebih mungkin untuk melamar pekerjaan jika perusahaan mampu mengelola mereka dengan baik. Hadirin yang berbahagia, kami sangat mengapresiasi tema yang dipilih karena dunia kerja harus bersiap menyambut kedatangan generasi Z ini. Secara masif saat ini, pengelolaan karir Gen Z dalam dunia kerja mutlak diperlukan untuk menjalankan suatu perusahaan agar tetap eksis di dunia global. Selain itu, generasi Z juga harus mempersiapkan diri untuk memasuki dunia usaha yang kondisinya mungkin masih proses transisi dan penuh perubahan. Ada senioritas, gap teknologi yang harus dihadapi, dan lain sebagainya. Hadirin yang berbahagia, kami sangat berharap seminar ini dapat menjadi media transfer ilmu, knowledge kepada Gen Z, perusahaan, akademisi, dan mahasiswa dimanapun berada, dan sebagai bekal menghadapi tantangan di masa depan yang perubahannya begitu cepat. Jangan lupa seminar ini dapat menambah wawasan keilmuan bagi mahasiswa bidang bisnis, ekonomi, dan manajemen, serta masyarakat mengenai pemahaman kondisi dunia kerja di masa depan. Selamat mengikuti seminar ini, dan semoga ini menjadi sumbangsih kita untuk ilmu pengetahuan semua kepada masyarakat, dan kita semua senantiasa berada dalam keridhaan dan lindungan Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Sekian yang bisa saya sampaikan. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Supriyanto. Speech from Rektor Balitar Islamic University Indonesia, represented by Vice Rector for Student Affairs, Entrepreneurship and Cooperation, to Mr. Dr. Supriyono, Master of Education, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Peace be upon you all. Your Excellency, the Chancellor of University Malaysia Terengganu, the Honorable Mrs. Associate Professor Dr. Hazimah, Mr. Bambang Septiawan, SSMM, the Dean of Economy Faculty, Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar, Mr. Supriyanto, and MERS, Dr. Andiwi Nepilina MM, the Chairman of Partnership and Entrepreneurship Bureau, Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar, Mr. Putra, our partnership in Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, and the respectful Master of Ceremony, ARIS, and also Moderator, Mas ADIB, and all blessed participants. Again, good morning. May Allah bless you all in this great occasion. This is the occasion as the follow-up of our partnership program between Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar and Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. And this is a very good initiative to follow up our signature on the partnership program. May Allah bless us all. And again, salawat and salam may be lifted to Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the real leader of here now and hereafter. May we be granted syafaat Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. On behalf of Mr. Haji Subiantoro, MSE, our Chancellor of Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar, I welcome you to our great international partnership seminar held by the economy faculties of Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar and the Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development of Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. This seminar is a very good initiative. We highly expect that this seminar will be followed up by a partnership agreement between Faculty of Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar and the Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. This international partnership is very important for us to exchange knowledge and to develop our quality of higher education services. And in the up-to-date era in which the world has become more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, and we experience the leap of evolution of industry, technology, and unique economic trends. Issues in human resource management within Generation Z and are highly important to be discussed. So we highly respect your seminar today with this team on behalf of Rector, on behalf of the Chancellor. And as we commit to crafting capable entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, our initiative, this initiative to talk about careers for Generation Z and human resource management is mostly appreciated. And we believe that these seminars will be useful to all the participants and all the teachers in Balitar Islamic University. This is the third seminar we have managed to do since we put the partnership program between Universitas Islam Balitar Blitar and Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. So it will be very good if we continue with great initiatives. And some times ago, Pak Putra and we have already talked about the social action program like KKN ya, KKN atau pengabdian masyarakat di Malaysia. So Fakultas Ekonomi kita akan fasilitasi untuk melakukan KKN internasional. Okay, so again, on behalf of Pak Subiantoro, we respect these activities and this initiative. As we all know that our economic trends as set by John Naisbitt in 1980s, we have moved to new greater job growth demand by the consumers using high touch technology requiring new skills and competencies. So this seminar's topic is very good. And this will likely flow hand in hand with the what Warren Bennis and Bert Nanos in 1987 said that the world is now becoming the VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Strategy for human resource management for Generation Z for this situation is very good to talk. So we hope that this seminar is greatly helping you, all participants, to get the new management perspectives and ready to be successful in your career. Thank you very much and have a great seminar. Thanks for the speakers. Thanks, Pak Putra, and we will continue our partnerships. We will facilitate Faculty of Economy, Universiti Islam Balitar to work for the partnership with the Faculty of Business, Economic, and Social Development. And we will continue, as Pak Bambang said, that we want to have the international KKN. So we will soon facilitate you to do that. Okay, thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Supriyono, Master of Education, Vice Rector for Student Affairs, Entrepreneurship, and Cooperation. We continue this webinar with the main event, Welcoming Gen Z to the World of Careers on Human Resource Management Perspective. This webinar will be hosted by Mr. ADIB MAWARDI, Management Lecturer, Faculty of Economic, Balitar Islamic University. Mr. ADIB MAWARDI, time yours.
Yeah, thank you.
Pak Adib, mic-nya.
Okay, thank you, Mr. ARIS.
You're welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Salam.
And welcome to today's international webinar about welcoming Generation Z to the world of careers from human resource perspective. My name is Muhammad Adib Mawardi, and I'll be your moderator for today's discussion. To give you an overview of what we'll be discussing, we'll be covering main points or agenda. We'll have some time for questions and comments at the end of presentation. As participants, you're encouraged to ask questions, share your thoughts, and present many relevant examples. This is meant to be an interactive discussion, so don't hesitate to contribute with your insight. Without further ado, let's get started by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We have a great agenda for you today, when we'll cover the following main points. Point 1 is presentation for first speaker, and will be followed by discussion. And point 2 is presentation from second speaker, and will be followed by discussion. Throughout the webinar, we encourage you to take notes and hold on to any questions you might have until the end. We will aim to answer as many questions as possible during the allocated Q&A time. Without further ado, let's dive into today's discussion. Thank you for your attention and participation. Now it's time to hear from our first speaker. She is an associate professor and deputy dean of the Postgraduate Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development University Malaysia Terengganu, who will give us insight into the topic human resources. Please join me in welcoming Associate Professor Mrs. Hazimah Nikmat. Ms. Hazimah Nikmat, you have 45 minutes to present your paper, so please.
Thank you very much to Mr. Chairperson, respected representative from Balitar Islamic University, and also representative from Universiti Malaysia Terengganu, ladies and gentlemen, and also not to forget all the students, lecturers from Universiti Balitar Islamic and also Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. First of all, thank you for having me today. It is a great pleasure to be part of this international seminar, collaboration between Balitar Islamic University and Faculty of Business, Economics and Social Development, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. Before I start, let me share my screen first. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. So, as mentioned by the two chairperson before, and also the representative from Rector of Balitar is Universitas Islam Balitar. Sorry for the pronunciation. Actually, our discussion today is about welcoming Gen Z to the world of careers from the perspective of human resource management. Actually, the speech from our speaker, the representative from the rector, is actually what we call that cover the important G's or the important notes about welcoming Gen Z in the world of careers. Right. So to start the presentation, okay. First of all, I think we need to know who is actually the Gen Z, right? So actually, who are there? Okay. By definition, Gen Z is also known as I generation or post-millennials generation, in which most of them are actually born between 1995 to 2012. All right. So actually, most of the workplace composition right now is actually dominated by Gen Z, right? Because in terms of work status, Gen Z is actually the newest generation to enter workforce, whereby they are actually expected to join the workplace around 2017. Okay, meaning that now is 2023. They are almost 6 years in the workplace. All right. So basically, some of the report and even from Forbes actually reported that right now, Gen Z is actually surpassed the baby boomers. All right, meaning that their numbers is actually exceeded what we call that the first generation of baby boomers. All right. So before we go further, I think it is good that we know who is actually in the same composition at our workplace right now. All right. So the departure of Gen Z is actually marks the combination of different generation at the workplace, in which right now we are having 4 generation in one workplace. Okay, in which these include baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, and also Gen Z. Okay, to know who are actually baby boomers, who are actually Gen X, and who are actually Gen Y, it is actually based on the years they are born. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, baby boomers is the first generation. However, their numbers is actually right now less because the Gen Z is actually exceeded the numbers of baby boomers. All right. So after knowing that different generation is actually in the workplace, we know that each and every generation are having their unique characteristic. Okay, meaning that if we are welcoming Gen Z, we are actually need to incorporate the differences in terms of characteristic of other generation as well. All right. So as you can see in the slide, baby boomers, okay, the first generation, the older generation, they are actually known for their distinct but loyal to the organization. Okay, meaning that whatever happened to the organization, this group of employees, this group of workforce is actually known as a loyalty for their organization. All right. So the second generation, Generation X, they are actually those who focus on promotion rather than pay increment. Okay, means that they are looking for career advancement, career development more than salary. All right. So to distinguish between Generation X and Generation Y, Generation Y is actually known for job hopping, meaning that they are not loyal to one company in a longer period of time, but they are tending to hop from one organization to another organization, okay, to find the satisfaction, okay. So the differences between Generation X and Generation Y is in terms of their motivation, okay, their passion, okay. And lastly, as we are welcoming Gen Z, we need to know what is actually Generation Z consists of, what we call the talent, the human that can contribute to the organization. All right. So in terms of the theories, there are many theories that actually underpinning the studies or the research for generational divide and also the implication to human resource management. Okay, among the theory that well known to the researchers and scholars are career theory, social capital theory, and also career anchors. All right, so I go one by one. All right. First of all, career theory in which individual value is based on the organizational values, meaning that for an employees to be loyal, to have the sense of belongingness to the organization, their value need to be similar, need to be in line with organizational values. If organizations are able to provide the values that are what we call that acknowledged, okay, that are having a similar value to the individual, it is likely that the individual will loyal to that organization. All right, that is the assumption of career theory, in which we know that when someone join the organization, they have their purpose. At the same time, the organization have their own purposes. Okay, so based on career theory, we need to inline. Okay, it need to be a consistency between individual purpose with organizational purpose for that individual to be what we call that loyal to the organization. Okay, the second theory is known as social capital theory. Okay, in this theory, the assumption has been that career success depends on the ability to build network at the workplace. Okay, we know that when we join organization, we are not bringing ourselves as an individual, but we need to what we call that interact with other colleagues in the organization, with the top management, with our subordinates, with our suppliers, and so on and so forth. All right. So based on social capital theory, if someone are able to link to create a networking between those stakeholders in the organization, inside organization and outside organization, it is likely that the person will loyal to the company, right? And lastly, the career anchors. Career anchors assume that the three anchors for career development should consist of three main indicators. The first is talent-based, the second is need-based, and the third one is value-based. Okay, some of the scholars suggest that this is what actually differentiate when Generation Z join the workplace. This is actually what they are looking for. Okay, they are not solely looking for need-based, but they also looking for the value-based. Okay, we know that during the departure of the Gen Z to the workplace, we know that they are actually surrounded by rapidly changing environment. They are very high uncertainties. There are so many significant events that happen throughout the years, not only at the particular country, but also at the global level. All right. So that's why under career anchors theory, it is assumed that for someone to be what we call that loyal to the organization, it needs to be it need to have three elements: talent based, need based, and also value based. Okay, so these are some of the interesting findings when we talk about Gen Z career aspiration. Okay, because before we know what's actually the implication to human resource management, we need to identify, we need to understand the characteristic of a particular generation first, right? So there are actually two factors that influence career aspiration. The first one is intrinsic factors. The second one is extrinsic factors, right? By intrinsic factors, we mean that internal element that influence someone or individual. Okay. On the other hand, extrinsic factors are factors outside, external factors that actually influence individual, right? So, a study by Barhate and Dirani in 2022 found that in terms of intrinsic factors, there are actually four elements that influence Gen Z. The first is their attitudes, the second is their self-perception, their relationship, and also motivation. On the other hand, when we talk about extrinsic factors, there are elements outside an individual that influence what we call that their development as an employee. Okay, this include environment, family, and also organization. So basically, Barhate and Dirani 2022 giving the finding based on what we call that, how actually the employers can cater or can expect what we call that, the aspiration that hold by the role holder. Because when we want to influence the performance, it is actually two main views that is actually important to be considered. The first is from the employee's perspective as a role holder. The second one is for the organization, okay, as an employer, right? So, intrinsic factors, attitude, self-perception, relationship, and motivation, known as their own characteristic. And on the other hand, they are actually influenced also by their environment. For example, their friends, colleagues, right? And also family, all right? So, in particular, when we talk about what we call that finding in Indonesia. Okay, I have found some interesting finding from the research that has been conducted in Indonesia. First of all, one study by Hinduan et al. 2020, it is found that behaviors are actually shaped by national values. Okay, meaning that for us in the ASEAN countries, for example, we are actually culturally influenced what we call that factors. Okay, and that's why it is not surprised when the finding reported that actually Gen Z attitudes and perception actually shaped by the national values. All right. Actually, this is hugely also affected by the significant life event. For example, as so many people are talking about the post-pandemic impact, in which it is not only what we call that impacted during the COVID, but also after the COVID. All right. It is actually what we call that the implication, the changes is not only happen to one individual, one country, but it is actually cross country. The whole world are actually having the same impact due to the COVID-19 pandemic. All right. Finding in Indonesia also found that Gen Z is actually self-driven digital savvy. Okay, meaning that this generation are actually very confident with the technology. They are actually are used to the Internet of Things. They are actually are used to online platform, and they are also used to the gig economy. Okay, so that's why during the pandemic, many statistics not only from at the global level, but also in countries. For example, like Malaysia, it is actually looking at or showing actually the increment of what we call the freelancers through the online gig workers, right? The other findings from Wahyudi and Sanyata 2020, it is found that career identity can be optimized through parents. Okay, so this is actually in line with the previous findings that found that actually the extrinsic factors of Gen Z is actually also driven by the family. Okay, because actually in terms of the career, the Gen Z is actually also influenced by effective communication between what we call the employee, the Gen Z, and also their parents. All right. In terms of the work expectation, all right, this is according to Rani Jali and Widiowati 2022. This is in particular for Gen Z in Indonesia. So actually, in terms of the expectation, there are three main things that highly considered by Gen Z. All right. The first one is in terms of health insurance. So that's why earlier on, I have touched on the significant life event. Okay. For example, when COVID-19 happened, we know that there are badly impacted not only individual, but also the family and the society. All right. During the COVID pandemic, we know that there are many people that losing their job. The organization also shutting down their operation, for example. There are so many struggle, difficulties during the pandemic, and so that's why in 2022, Rani and her colleague found that the first expectation of Gen Z is in terms of health insurance, okay, to secure their health if anything happen in the future. All right. The second one, in terms of work expectation of Gen Z, is also including the coaching manager. Okay, meaning that those Gen Z who join workplace without any experience, actually they are expecting a mentor from somebody senior in the organization to coach them in terms of completing the job, right? So that is the second one. The third one is in terms of work security, right? We know that in this rapidly changing environment, there are so many uncertainties, right? There are so many uncertainties that influence the organization, in which as an employee of a particular organization, we are actually feel threatened with the uncertainties, with the what we call that the changing structures, changing environment, and etc. Right? So these are actually the three main expectations that found from the Gen Z in Indonesia. Right? So now, we know we have some ideas about Gen Z, about their characteristic, about their expectation. So what is actually the implication to HRM, right? So this means that we might not imitate solely the practices that have been done 20 years before, 10 years before, because we know right now the motivation, the expectation of Gen Z that in some period of time, they will dominate the workplace. Having a different expectation require organization to be prepared with a unique HRM practices to cater their needs. All right. So some of the what we call that preparation that can be done by the organization in terms of the understanding of the value of Gen Z. Okay. First of all, we know that Gen Z is actually those who focus on universalism, meaning that they are actually require social sustainability. They are not only looking for monetary aspect, but they also looking for something that can secure their jobs and also secure their life. Okay, so in terms of developing the human resource management practices, organization need to ensure that the practices implemented by a company need to foster a fairness and also equality. Okay, meaning that when these are actually translated into the HRM practices and the Gen Z can feel that fairness and equality happen to their workplace, they will be likely to stay longer in that particular organization. All right. So when we talk about HRM practices, some of the common practices that implemented by organization would be recruitment and selection. Okay. So in order to foster fairness and equality, we need to ensure that we can reduce discrimination and also gender inequality. All right. Meaning that every person have the same right, have the same opportunity, not only to get the job, but to develop, right? The second practices would be in terms of performance management, right? So performance management always been debated in terms of theoretical, in terms of practical. These are the common issue in any organization. How actually my performance will be evaluated? How come my colleague having higher compensation, for example? This is all the matters of performance management. For Gen Z, the organization need to aware in terms of environmental sustainability and also social sustainability. Okay, meaning that any strategy used by organization actually need to highlight on this what we call that focus. Right. The third one in terms of rewards and compensation. Right. So in terms of reward and compensation, we know that in the modern environment, actually, there are three main elements that have been said, that have been discussed by many scholars, particularly in human resource management practices, in terms of inclusivity, in terms of diversity, in terms of equality. All right. So these are three main things that actually associated with sustainable development goals. All right. I think most of the audience in this seminar what we call that used to hear about SDG 2030, okay, in which so many countries are actually looking forward to achieve, to gear the effort to achieve SDG 2030. As we know, under the SDG, there are 17 elements that actually comprising some of the matters about equality, inclusivity, and also diversity. All right. And so, knowing that this reconfiguration need to be done, it is actually need to be translated into the implementation. All right. Because there are so many research, there are so many what we call that studies that found that policy alone might not guarantee any success. It is policy plus implementation or enforcement that we can ensure that the success of any strategies, not only actually for Gen Z, but also for the whole workplace. All right. I think lastly, for my speech today, in terms of conclusion, we know that scholars argue the importance of conducting generation-based research. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of my slide just now, there are actually 4 generations right now. We have baby boomers, we have Gen Z, Gen Y, and also Gen X. All right. So having these generational differences research is actually important, okay, because we want to know actually their expectation. We want to incorporate with actually the purposes, the accomplishment of organizational goals, right? Because by studying the generation-based research, we are actually moving toward talent engagement, career development, and also HR planning, human resource planning, okay? So as we know, HR planning is actually crucial in rapidly changing environment with high uncertainty. These are actually to prepare the organization not only to survive, but also to have a competitive advantage against competitors, right? So the same goes to other generation. For Gen Z, also we have known them for freelancers, for online platform, remote, remote work. But then as an organization, we need to attract and also retain the best workforce that can influence organizational development and also success. All right. So before I end my speech today, I also would like to share some of the what we call that programs that we have in the Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development. All right.
Ini bahasa Malaysia ya.
So actually we have 2 research programs at the master level and also at the PhD level. These are some of the research field, maybe some of the docent and lecturers from Balitar Islamic University that what we call that interested to study in UMT. You are most welcome to come to Faculty of Business, Economy and Social Development because we have a variety of field and areas that we have the expert to supervise any students. All right. So other than that, we also have our coursework programs. We have Master of Business Administration, MBA. We have Master of Management Integrated Coastal Zone Management, ICZM. We have Master of Counseling, and lastly, we have a Master of Economics. All right. So for coursework, you are welcome to study in UMT, maybe to have living life in Malaysia, for example. All are welcome to join and study in Faculty of Business, Economic and Social Development. I think that's all for my speech today. Thank you very much for having me. It is a great pleasure again to be part of the international seminar. Okay, hope to see you guys again. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Hazimah, Associate Professor, for your insightful presentation. I'm sure that our audience has learned a lot from you today, especially about the theme big strategies for the third to Generation Z in job vacancy, because the orientation is appropriate. It's very different with baby boomers and also in Generation Z. So for corporation, there should be adapted new strategy for Generation Z. And then the audiences, thank you for your time and attention. Now let's open the floor for questions from our audiences. We have 3 chances to audiences for asking question. Please raise your hand if you have a question and wait for the pointing at you. Please also state your name and affiliation before asking your question. So please. One will ask a question. Okay, maybe we can move into second speaker. He is a known expert on human resources and he has published several books and articles on the subjects. He is also a lecturer of subject human resources at university and he is the head of the management study program at Universitas Islam Balitar. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bambang Septiawan, SSMM. Mr. Bambang, you have 45 minutes to present your paper, so please.
Okay, thank you, Mas Adib, for the time and the chance. And yeah, it's actually always challenging as a second speaker. So hopefully everybody you still feel curious when you are listening what I'm gonna talk about. But first of all, I would like to say honorable to Your Excellency the Chancellor of UMT, and then the Excellency Director or Vice Rector of Balitar Islamic University, and then honorable to the Dean of Faculty of Economic, whether in UNISBA Blitar and UMT, and I would like not to send my gratitude to all members of this international webinar, especially for the student and also Mas Adib want to join as the moderator. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, everyone can see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So actually, the introduction about agency and all the things already explained by Associate Professor Hazimah, but today I would like to specify in the explanation about compensation, expectation, and the interest of applying job for Gen Z. So let's start about the range by generation. So actually, this range of the ages already explained more with Associate Professor of Hazimah, but I would like to focus on the workforce. So as a Gen Z, you have to remember that your workforce, your atmosphere of the work is absolutely different with your school or when you having as a student in university. Why? You have to remember the different ages. It's mean if there is different ages, you have to understand about the way how to work of every millennial generation and then a Gen X. But in baby boomers, I believe you will not meet with them because mostly they all already have the retirement. Okay, in Indonesia, if we know the labor force is starting from the age of 15 until 48. So after graduating for senior high school, it can be included in a labor force in Indonesia. But hopefully today it's gonna change by starting the age of 18 after graduated from senior high school. And then as the Genji, you also have to remember, like Mr. Supriyono said, that you have to be ready with the uncertainty of the world, because the world is changing so fast, especially you have to be ready with the changes of the technology. So hopefully by knowing the candidates of the range by generation, hopefully you more be ready for facing workforce in career in the future. Okay, talking about Gen Z, actually it's already done in the first presentation, but I would like to review some point that you have to remember. The first one, Generation Z are those in the age of 15 and 25, but it's a depend of who already make the research, because some research say that starting from the age of 11, some research stated as Gen Z from the age of 15, so it's okay, but you have to understand that Gen Z is always known as the internet era. So start from they are baby, they grow with the internet. After you waking up from your bed, you starting to take the handphone, and then you start to say YouTube. You open your social media, you open the other application. So that one of the characteristic from the Gen Z. And then the second point, it said that they arrived with a tablet and smartphone under their arms. And not only the tablet and the smartphone, nowadays Gen Z is also make an adaptation with the artificial intelligence. So sometimes this is could be threatening for Gen Z when you entering on the careers or the new job, because the competition it's not only from human to human, but also the competition is uh, included human and a robot, or even I would said it before, artificial intelligence. For example, when you go to the bank several years ago, we still found a teller, yeah, a teller or customer service. But today, those function is changed by the robot. You don't need goes to bank. You only goes to the ATM, and then you can make a transaction with your handphone and other tools. So technical skill that related to the work, it's always changing. You have to improve your quality of the skill, because the effect of the technology itself. And then you also pay attention in a digitalization. Yeah, in digital era you have to pay attention about the changing of a working area. So if you are in guitarist, actually you can work until the overseas by using the application. And there is story from young people from uh, Central Java. Every day he look just relax, sleep all day in the morning until in the afternoon, and then his neighbor jealous as the young people. He only look relaxed and do nothing in all day, but no one knows he worked in the night as the designer of the logo from some company in Europe, and I believe it could be the new opportunity for everybody. So the work, the job is changing a lot because the effect of the technology. So please, you do not hesitate to enter for the new world. Even if you are in small city, you still have the chance to work internationally. Okay, and then future generation for the company's human resource generation. So it means Gen Z is actually the next generation that lead the company. Success or not for the company is depend of the Gen Z that recruited and selected by the companies today. But you have to remember, sometimes the purpose when you have the school is make you have the brilliant thinking or make you smarter. But today, please, you have to be careful with the appears of artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence, it could make your brain is lower thinking. So you have to be aware about these cases, especially when you are doing your studies or your assignment. It's okay you use AI, but you have to remember you have to select with the best AI that can improve your quality of brain, not decrease the quality of your brain. Okay, and then the fourth point, compensation is the most wanted for the job seeker, especially Gen Z. Yeah, it's not only Gen Z. I believe all generation is think about compensation when they start to enter in the company, because there is proverb from the English, yeah, the English proverb, they say that money is everything, yeah, but everything needs money. In Arabic, there is someone say laisa fulus mampus lah. This is the crucial factors actually that everybody thought about the money. But when we have the job, when we start to the career, yeah, sometimes money is number 2 or number 3, but we have to remember that our job we use to give our skill, our quality for making the effect and benefit from the other people. That's the point. If you have more benefit for other people, I do believe that money is will come to you. You don't think it too much. Okay, and then for the last, this generation mostly try to apply and create the job. So with the appearance of internet and digitalization as well as artificial intelligence, I believe there are many new jobs. There are many ways to build up your careers, because Atta Halilintar, and then Nick Carlos, and then the other influencer that have new job because of the modernization of technology. So as the Gen Z, you have to remember that the world is changing a lot, and then you have to prepare it very well, and then you have to up your skill. Sorry, there is someone stop my share screen. Okay, I will continue. Okay, so this is specifically I would like to explain about the compensation and interest in applying job. As I mentioned before, actually compensation is divided into 3 parts. The first one is direct money, the second one is indirect money, and then the third one is non-money. Those 3 things are very important for supporting your life to be better. But please understand these factors have several points. For direct money, it will be salary, allowance, and bonus. And then the direct money, there are insurance, vehicle, official, and resident. And then for the non-money, there is a working hour, paid leave, and career path. And those three factors, it will have the influence on interesting in applying job when a company try to give the direct compensation on the other part when starting for recruit or select the talent or the Gen Z when they start want to enter in a company. Mostly such as what I have researched as well as my team too. Gen Z is very rational. They are really impressed in the company if the company give the highest salary. But in the other side, on the perspective of the company, they will want to find the talent with the great skill. So there is the equals thing from the Gen Z and the company. Okay, this is the specific explanation of direct money according to the survey that we have already done in this year. This is very rational because mostly Gen Z want to have the higher salary. It's about 5 million rupiah, and if it compare with the lowest salary in Blitar, so it will be twice bigger than the lowest salary in Blitar. So this is a survey, but I do believe the more salary you get, you will have more spirit when you start your career or job in a company. 44.9%, yeah. Most of Gen Z that we have already surveyed want to have salary more than 5 billion rupiah. So this is a very rational because Gen Z have a very quiet, unique lifestyle. If we compare with the Gen Z, they born and they grew with the limitation of the condition. But if we talk to Gen Z, they born with all the things that are always ready because the rich of the family or the other aspect of the economics that affect for this life. Okay, and then that's about salary. And then the direct money, according to the survey, we found that mostly Gen Z don't really think about indirect money, especially for the insurance, vehicle, or housing or official housing that are given by the company. Why? Because mostly Gen Z is around 15 and 25 years old and they don't think about marriage yet. They don't think too much about the future of their life. So the result that we have already conducted prove that so far they don't think too much about the indirect money for the compensation. But it could be changes 5 or until 10 years ago when they start to the age of 30 or 35. Maybe the result of the survey will be different because they already think about marriage, they think about the family and the other part of their life. Okay, and then the other part of compensation is about non-money. And then according to the survey that we have already done, there is a flexibility of working hours. So the Gen Z is taking thought too much about the flexibility of working hours. They always think about work-life balance. Yeah. So far, a lot of research prove that Gen Z is written of stress disease. They work not too much, but they mostly or ever suffer about the stress or mental illness. According to the data that we have already several months ago, there is some accident that make Gen Z easy to surrender. In some news, we know that some accident, especially suicide from the Gen Z, because of they do not have a strong mental, because they think that their problem in life is too hard to say, too hard to solve, and then they try to take the cut off. And I do believe, as the manager, as the company, you have to remember that Gen Z is written to attack by the stress. And then for the next factor is sufficient paid leave. Yeah, this is have the correlation with the flexibility of working hours. If we know some big company, mostly the Gen Z employees, they even often to go abroad. They even and often make the holiday. This is actually in the factor. We can see that if somebody goes holiday too much, it's mean they or he or she have stress too much. That's that this character is owned by Gen Z, so we have to pay attention on that point. And then the last one is the career path. Mostly a Gen Z, even if don't really attract with the indirect money compensation, but they very have strongest thought about clear career path, because career path, according to them, it could make the future will be a better. That's one of the warranty that the company have to give for the Gen Z if they want to enter in a factory. Okay, and this is the job expectation that we have already surveyed to local Gen Z. Mostly they want to be the entrepreneurs. And the entrepreneurs in this case, mostly they want to have the job as an entrepreneur in digital sectors. For example, they want to be in the sellers in marketplace. They want to be in the content creator and so on. And then the second, they want to be in the official of BUMN, is just like a big bank, such as we know BCA, Mandiri, and the other sectors of BUMN. The main reason is only one of the big compensation, especially for the salary that they will get if they join with the official of BUMN, rather than they start to be the entrepreneur, because starting from the entrepreneur is not the easy things to do, because you start everything by yourself. You have to prepare the marketing, promotion, your product, and so on. And then the second, you have to make a good financial planning, and the other side of entrepreneur itself. Okay, and then for the company implication for Gen Z, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements that we have to read in this seminar. The first one, Gen Z is the company successor. And then the second one, priorities on collaboration and communication. The third one, allow for the independent and autonomy. And then the fourth, implement strategies for work-life balance, embrace new technology. And the last is empathize with the mental health needs. So let's do explain one by one. Okay, actually I have already explained it before that the Gen Z is the future leader for each company. Therefore, for the recruitment and the selection for the company that they want to get the best talent of Gen Z, and they have to make a very specific and vivid rules for getting the best talent of Gen Z. So the Gen Z that exists in the company today could be in the warranty for as the leader 10 or 15 years to go. But we have to remember the Gen Z have to pay attention on the culture of the company, because I believe that every company have the different culture. Even if the same university, even if the same company, but because the different level of people, the different background of knowledge, that would affect a lot of the culture. So you have to first, when you enter the company, you have to know and you have to plan with the culture bound on that company. Okay, that's for the first point. And then for the second, Gen Z that work today is suffered with the disaster of COVID-19 3 until 2 years to go. So on the way of the communication for that generation is quite different. As the manager, we have to give a lot the collaboration. We have to make different ways for communication with the Gen Z. For example, we can use the social media. Not always we meet face to face, but we have to use social media for the way to make a good communication with the Gen Z, because the Gen Z is quite unique human. Sometimes when we meet face to face, they keep silent and don't say nothing. But when we have conversation or communication in WhatsApp or in direct message, and they talk too much and they can say anything that they want to say to the manager, for example. And then we have to remember that Gen Z is characterized as a relaxed generation, and they want to meet, and then the condition is too nervous. They want to do like that. They want to everything is look very relaxed. When the managers look relaxed, always smile, it will make them easy to have the communication in organization or the company. Okay, the next is about the law independence and autonomy. I do believe that Gen Z have the very highest and strongest responsibility. Gen Z always have the good habit for the autonomous learning, because they help by a lot of things in the internet. So as the manager, we have to keep them full of the authority. Gen Z mostly don't think about the process, but they pay attention a lot. The important thing is about the output. If we compare with the millennial generation, work is always sit on the office, start from the 8 p.m. until 4 p.m. But for Gen Z, this could be changing. That's too boring things to do. So the manager have to give the authority trusted, because I do believe Gen Z always have many strategies. I do believe some lectures is not really good as the Gen Z when we are talking about technology as well as the company. And then the next one is implementing strategy for work-life balance. So actually, Gen Z want to enjoy their work, want to enjoy their life. So this is some slogan that mostly Gen Z said, work-life balance. So actually, Gen Z want to work little, but holiday allowed. Mostly Gen Z want to do like that. Work little, holiday allowed. When they have the holidays could be in the content in the YouTube. So that's the unique things of the Gen Z that we can see together. That's why the company have to give a lot of holidays and vacation, because I said before that they return to get the stress in a job. And then the next is about the embrace of the new technology. I believe that technology is changing so fast. Gen Z is always up to date more than the other generation. So company must updating, improving the technology track, because I do believe that all Gen Z is easy, and they will be happier when they knew about the updating technology. They will work hard if they have the new technology for the way of their work. This is the crucial things that I have to say, because some news in Indonesia found that but some Gen Z is suicide because they do not have the good mental. So hopefully the company always give the counseling. The counseling of why I thought that this is very important for Gen Z today. And then the next one, you have to give the more vacation. Why the more vacation is needed by the Gen Z? Because the Gen Z, if they are happy, they will be have more spirit when they come to the work. And also the competitive salary is important for the company to give for the Gen Z. Several months ago, we often heard the word about healing. I do believe that everyone still remember about the word healing. Healing is often said by the Gen Z, because I believe there are some effect of COVID-19. There are some effect of the fastest of technology that come to the world. So if they do not have the good mental, it could be destroy the way of the work of the Gen Z itself. Therefore, the company have to, the first, give the counseling, and then the second, give them more vacation, and the last one, give the competitive salary. Okay, before I conclude and say thank you, I have some message to you, and you have to remember, if you want to take it as a note, it will be better. The first one, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, at the age of 20, they start to build or create the Microsoft. The second, Muhammad Al-Fatih, at the age of 20, they succeed to conquer the Constantinople. And the last one, Steve Jobs at the age of 20, he started to build the iPhone that be actually easy to find today. And the question is that you as the Gen Z at the age of 20, what you are doing? Are you starting to release your dream come true or not? Whatever your condition today is not important. You don't need to be sad if you still fail many times. But the important thing is that you have to keep spirit. You have to keep your head up. Whatever that you can do today, you have to believe that it will be succeed for the future. You have to believe that everything that you do today will be better, will be give the good impact for the civilization. That's all that I can say. Hopefully, my little explanation give you uh, a lot of insight of Genzi and the company. Thank you. Akhirul kalam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I give it back to the moderator.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Bambang Septiawan, for your insightful presentation. I'm sure that our audience has learned a lot from you today. Mr. Bambang Septiawan explained to us the main point about job vacancy and the salary and its relation to Generation Z, human resources, and what are the key concepts and principles behind it. Okay, dear audiences, thank you for your time and attention. Now let's open the floor for questions from our audience. We have 2 sessions of discussion. Every session will give 3 chances to audiences for asking question, and you can deliver it to Associate Professor Mrs. Hazimah Nikmat, or you can asking question to Mr. Bambang Septiawan. Please raise your hand if you have a question and wait for the pointing at you. Please also state your name and affiliation before asking your question. So please. I hope you can share your question on chat box, and I will read your question to Ms. Nik Hazimah or to Mr. Bambang Septiawan. Okay, while we move to Q&A session, maybe I have a question to presenter. First of all, I will ask Mr. Bambang, how did you become interested in topic that is human resources? And what motivated you to pursue this field of study and research? So please, Mr. Bambang.
Okay, thank you for the question why I choose this topic, especially for human resource sectors. So I do believe building up on the better civilization, it always start by the education, by the learning, by the way how do we educate the young generation. That's why I would like to take human resource management as a part of my research. Besides, we have to remember that if we have a lot of knowledge, if we have a lot of skill, and then we would not want to say this is very dangerous. Yes, actually, if we have a lot of skill, if we have a lot of knowledge and insight, we have to share with the next generation. At least they will not have the same mistake like we are experienced today. So hopefully they can live more better in the future. That's all, Mas Adib.
Okay, thank you for your explanation, Mr. Bambang. There is a question from audience that was written on chat box. Question from Fiona Pramatita by WhatsApp group. The question is, why does the question is for Mrs. Hazimah, Associate Professor. Why does Gen Z always think everything and the workload and tasks are related to mental health? So what makes the millennial generation mentality healthier? Have technological development had a big impact in it? That is the question from Fiona Pramadita to Mrs. Hazimah Nikmah. So please to Mrs. Hazimah, time is yours.
Dr. Hazimah already leave, Pak Adib.
Okay, because Mrs. Hazimah already leave, we will move this question to Mr. Bambang. Why does Generation Z always think everything and the workload to or accept are related to mental health? And what makes the millennial generation mentality healthier? Have technological developments had a big impact?
All right, thank you, Mas Adib. So this is actually dangerous and tricky questions. Actually, when we see the lifestyle of Gen Zs today, mostly them have the slogan overthinking. Yeah, actually overthinking is happen because you think too much with what's gonna happen. The other solution when you have the overthinking is that first you have to believe that everything is guided by the gut. Something that do not happen yet, you don't need to think it too much because it will not happen yet. You don't need to think it too much because it will not happen yet. Yeah. And I think it's only throw up your energy when you think something that will not always come to your life. That the first. And then if you want to have the mental health, yeah, I believe you have to close to your religion. You have to study a lot about the way how you live in this world. And then for the technological development, I believe that technology is always make a biases in life. I say that there is an uncertainty life about the technology. Maybe several years ago we used ATM or debit card, but today we move to cardless technology. So actually you have to be ready for this kind of uncertainty. That's the answer. Thank you, Mas Adib.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. There is second question, Mr. Bambang. Because Mrs. Hazimah was leave, so the question is only for you. The second question is, what the skills are needed by students to have to face current development? It means uncertainty condition because the changing of technology that with impact at work life, especially on Generation Z for facing their work. Okay, Mr. Bambang.
Okay. Thank you. Talking for the future career, I believe that thought that everybody from the Gen Z, they want to be success. You have the dream to be success, but at least you start to step your foot to do the real activity that guide your way of success. And then what have you prepared for the getting this kind of success? The first one is you have to updating your scaling. You have to study a lot. And then the most important thing that you have to focus on your value added. For example, you study in management program. Actually, your friend have the same quality, your friend have the same knowledge, but you have to add the value added for your life. For example, you taking a course of the Japanese language, you have the certificate of the tech assessment and the other things that you can do. At least you have the more skill that the other people have.
Okay. Third question. I think it is rather same with second question from what should we prepare for getting better future career? And because it rather same, we shift to second question from Zalisa Safia. The question is, how is the strategies to enter a new company? How is the strategies to enter in a new company so that we can easily to have quick adaptation with the company behavior? Maybe it is the last question.
Okay, I agree with you. This is the last question. Okay, the entering the company is not easy things to do, especially by the Gen Z, because mostly a lot of people who stayed in the company is the range of Y, millennial, and X generation. So actually, there will be different culture, different way of life, different way of communication that you have to face when you start for entering the company. That's why the first thing that you have to do is you have to learn about the culture of the company. And then the second, you try to make a communication, you try to make a small talk with them, so you know what is the right, what is the best, so the culture, so the behavior that people that come into the company do before you, like what you have to understand this kind of behavior. And then for the last, maybe if the company have the counseling affair, you can start to sit with them and then you try to listen from the counselor actually how is that we can do when we start to enter in the company at least for 3 months until 6 years, because understanding the behavior of the other people is not easy things to do. Thank you, Mas Adib.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bambang. And it is a great announcement from Commit, and there is webinar. Someone who asking question will be give third prize from the Commit or organizers, especially for someone who asking the best question. He will be given by third prize from Commit. So who is it? It will be just by the Commit. Okay, Mr. Bambang, thank you for your attention and participation. We have come to the end of our webinar on the topic of welcoming Generation Z to the world of career from human resources perspective. I hope you have enjoyed this session and gained some valuable insight and knowledge from our speakers. Before we close this session, let me briefly summarize the main points and takeaways from our speakers. Associate Professor Mrs. Hazimah shared with us main point and gave us definition of Generation Z, distinction between Generation Z and other generation on careers, what is the orientation of each generation in careers. Meanwhile, Mr. Bambang Septiawan explained to us the main point about job vacancy, salary, and its relation to human resources, and what are the key concepts and principles behind it. We also have lively and interesting discussions and questions from the audiences. Thank you for your active involvement and contribution. I would like to thank you, our speakers, once again for their time and expertise. Let's give them a big round of applause. I would also like to thank the organizers and sponsor of this webinar for making this event possible. Please give them as well. And finally, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you have learned something new and useful from this international webinar. Thank you very much and have a great day. And I'll give back this meet to Master of Ceremony. So Mr. ARIS SUNANDES, time is yours.
Well, thank you, Pak Adib. Thank you very much for the nice webinar today. And now, so Gen Z, are you ready to face the career of the world with courage and confidence? We hope that today's webinar will provide positive value in every step you take in the future. And at the end of this program, we'll take the picture. So open your or activate your video Zoom. Please activate or turn on your video. We will take the picture. Okay, waiting for you. Ready to take the picture? Okay, ready? I count in 3, 2, 1, and capture. So once more, please smile. Keep on smiling. Come on. Once more. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and capture. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, today's webinar event has run smoothly. We are very grateful to all parties who participated in today's webinar. On behalf of the organizers, would we like to thank you all the speakers and participants today. You are all the best. We apologize if something went wrong while hosting this event. I'm ARIS SUNANDES closing this event. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day. See you at the next conference. Bye-bye.
See you, Mr. ARIS.
Yes.